Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about um, kind of the role I can play as a social studies educator, and not even just as a social studies educator, but just as a teacher in general, and what kind of the role I can play in raising equity and diversity in my classroom. Basically, just to start off, I want to be an inspiration to all my students, no matter where they come from or who they are. I think it's important to show interest in your students and really kind of set the example for them. I mean, not all students are going to come from the same exact background, the same situation, and not all are going to come from ideal situations. So I think it is very important as a teacher to be an inspiration to your students. Kind of tell them about your life, show them kind of the way to act. Be a leader in the classroom. If you can be a leader in the classroom, those students are going to follow you. In regard to the history, I just want to show different historical perspectives through multiple lenses for students to see how history is portrayed differently. Um, so, for example, in my English class right now, or next semester, I'm student teaching in an English class. Well, in that class, I have to plan an entire unit on the Holocaust. And as I was thinking about how to plan it and how I want to go about it, I think it's really important that we show kids different perspectives of history. I think a lot of the times when we went through school, we only learned it through one lens. And I think if we can show students, and if I can show them just different literature, and that show different perspectives, maybe different videos um, that they can use in their writing, I think it's important to see different perspectives where maybe the different ideas that people have about the situation. Not everyone's going to think of the Holocaust the same. Not everyone saw it the same. If you see primary accounts, a lot of them differ. A lot of them differ from the Jews or the Nazis. So that's kind of an example of how I want to show different historical perspectives through multiple lenses. I also want students to study what is important for them. What is important for them in history, in social studies? What can they relate to? I think a huge thing is a lot of these students that I'm going to be student teaching, especially in the spring, come from impoverished areas. So I am at an at-risk school that will consist mainly of Latino and African American students. And I think it's really important for me to kind of show these students and kind of let them explore what is important for them. How, what are their roots and how, where did they come from? So I think that is one thing that I really want to do, and I want them just to be really involved in their social studies education by seeing where they come from and their historical roots. I also want to gear my social studies class based on the wide range of students I have. Where do they come from and why they are here? So that's basically what I just said a second ago. Is I have these students that come from just such a wide range of backgrounds, and it's not gonna. The thing is you're not gonna have students that come from the same background each year, and every job differs. A lot of the students in our cohort have student teaching placements in very wealthy suburban areas, and that is an enriching experience, and that will help you grow as a teacher. I think it is also important to kind of have that experience where you're with students who need extra support, who need the help, who need the guidance. I think that is something that I can do. I think social studies is also a good way to teach students about sensitive information. Then that could just include bullying, LGBT, anything like that. For example, in the book club, I think one of the things that really stuck out to me was the bullying book that I read. I mean, reading that entire book was just an eye-opening experience to see the different accounts of people getting bullied, and not even just the people getting bullied. It's the even the people who did bully kids and how they feel about it 20 years down the road. I think it's really important for us as teachers to kind of create a positive learning environment. In building that rapport with students, I think if you can create a learning environment where collaboration is encouraged and students are working together and sharing ideas with each other, I think it's really, really important. And I think it's important that students share their information about their family and about their personal life with the class. And I know sometimes that that is kind of not allowed in some schools, and some schools kind of prohibit that from happening. But I think it's important that the class becomes a community, and the class becomes one. It's important if you have a class that really enjoys being together, learning is going to happen more of the time than not, and I think that's really important. And what role can I play in raising equity and diversity? Um, this is the one big issue that I have with my teaching, and one thing that the reason why I came into education. The reason why I came into education is I wanted to work with students who come from a background that isn't the same as mine. I grew up and I was lucky enough to grow up and have a family that supports me well and is able to finance most of my education, and that's able to really just take care of me, and I've been able to learn a lot just from them. A lot of the times that's not the case, and I'm going to have to understand that, and I'm learning that right now. That's not the case for most students, especially in some of the areas like the west side of Chicago, maybe the south side of Chicago, the northwest suburbs of Chicago, where I'm student teaching. I think it's important to see the way some lives differ from yours. I think some people, and especially in our cohort, I see it, they only see themselves and they only see this world through their lens. They aren't able to see it through other kids' lens. So for example, I run a summer camp, and the kids, it's not a very good area, and you kind of see, and a lot of the students are on government aid, you really see that students, they really need you. These kids really need you, and especially the males. I mean, think about it. A lot of these males don't have a father figure in their life, and I think it's more of my duty to kind of take them in, build that rapport, build that respect with the students, to create a positive learning environment. And then just a few other things. Just taking that time for kids' personal life to be important. You take that time for kids' personal life to be important, they'll want to learn. They'll want to come to class every day. You make that effort for those students, they're going to really want to be there. And I think that's the one big takeaway that I want to have. So, thank you.